Vasudha garden update November 18th. It's very cold. Christina's here. She's dyed her hair black.
So I can get a job in corporate America.
So she can get a job in corporate America. We have covered the beds. I think Brandon did. Yeah. Look at our little babies. Doing well, that little green carpet. We gotta trim these tarragon down, everybody. And this comfort.
Really good.
The what?
Lettuce.
The lettuce?
Yeah, it's fire.
Hell yeah, it's fire. It's fire, everybody. Yeah, so that's really the update. Not much going on. Everything's going on the same, but we have we're going into hibernation mode. We have set out lots of roots, both physically and socially. And look at this little spaceship. That's a spaceship, everybody. It's actually noticeably a little warmer in here just from the cover, which is cool. Brandon, the tree I replanted seems to not be rotting, so that's cool. Clover garden's still doing good, but it's definitely deflating with the cold weather. So let's hope it makes a little capsule of fertilizing or whatever. We got to come in and do some final work here, trim things up, gather that kale. Right? Unless it's better to have it not. What else? Well, that's really it. These painted hoops look great under here and when they were exposed. Thanks to the art team for that. But I guess the best thing to do is to just riff for a minute about the plan. So in the spring, we hope to emerge with, take these two beds, Control C, Control V. Right there, same spots, except the one here is going to be a production bed, which I've tasked you with running, and this one's going to be up. There's going to be a bed here. It's going to be a pollinator bed. Max and the players are unofficially involved in that. Unofficially, as in it's not a club specific thing, but I'm saying they're from the club. And oh, one more thing, we might get those chairs and tables. So we're gonna put, the shed is gonna be within the width of this. Okay. It's gonna be somewhere over here. But hopefully I put in the plan a gravel thing here where we can put it. Oh wow, it's snowing. It's happening, everybody. Frost is here. But yeah, that's the update. We're settling in for hibernation, some final activities, some trimming, some prepping. But winter is here, everybody, but Vasudha will emerge in the spring. Cheers to Dunkin' Donuts.
Hi everybody, as promised earlier in the video, here is the kind of diagram that we're working with that was initially produced by Max. Thank you so much for that. I went ahead and kind of added a little bit, and this is here to serve as kind of a visualization of what I was talking about in the Vasudha hibernation discussion. And so what you see here is nicely detailed our plan for the spring expansion, which has been tacitly approved by grounds, and this document serves to kind of certify it in an institutional sense. And if you look at the beds, just as I said in the video, it's basically just copying and pasting the two beds, the exact same width and length, over next to them. And the first bed will be a pollinator garden, which in the diagram you can see a really nice zoom in of what that design's going to look like. And we're really excited for that. That pollinator garden will be there to serve species and creatures which pollinate, and it will have effects for our garden, but also doesn't need to have effects for our garden to be valuable. It's one way of being in the ecology, a different way. You also see next to the pollinator garden another compost box. I added this to the plan because I think we could really process a lot of compost if we had another box, and we could fill a gap, I think, between like a major compost service, which is frequently requested on campus, and you know, a kind of do your own compost situation. So a second box, it seems really essential to have. Then you can see next to the pollinator bed what is labeled the edible production bed. That is going to be kind of a proof of concept bed. It faces the campus a little bit more. It's more visible, and so we really want to max out a bed and show just how much we can produce, and fit into that normal kind of idea of oh, well, if you have a garden, you should make as many tomatoes and, I don't know, kale leaves as possible, which is separate right now, or different from the experimental beds that are the remaining ones. Those will remain kind of open for experimental usage, which, if you'd like to know more, you can get in contact with me and maybe we can set up an experiment. But next to the experimental beds on the diagram, you can see a black square, which is the Engineers Without Borders shed. That will serve as a utility shed and a continuing kind of infrastructural collaboration, and hopefully serve as a kind of a foundation for more collaborations with more engineering types. And it will also have the sign that we want to develop, kind of like a trailhead sign. Hopefully we'll also have some space at the top or on the roof to possibly mount some solar panels someday. It'll also serve as a good location to keep maybe a mobile light, or not a mobile light, but like a lawn light, a motion sensor light, or a motion sensor, or both, a motion sensor light and a game camera, just to watch the garden, see who comes when we're not there. Right below the EWB shed, you can see a gray square that is going to be kind of gravel that will separate it out from the rest of the brown around it, which is mulch. This is to kind of make a more occupied shape, so it is easier for grounds to maintain the area. This was designed with them in mind, and from their observations and experiences taking care of the area. You'll see shapes on it. Those are meant to represent chairs and tables. We like the Vasudha space to be kind of more of a garden, like more of a social garden, not just a garden. And we like that to happen in a way that facilitates discussion and openness to new ideas and new approaches from the RPI norm. And we think seating is really essential. Get that study crowd. It's a really nice area, too, if you've never been down there. Really nice leaves, nice sun in the fall so you stay warm. Be a really good study site. And then below all of that, you see kind of a proposed site for a bioart collaboration with bioartist Ellie Irons and PhD student in the arts department. She did a really interesting experiment where she took off the top layer of the lawn, basically, and she does something that makes the other things grow out of what was once just one species of weed or grass, and shows the real diversity of the ecosystem that still exists even in our lawn world. And that's really it, other than the mulch, which is indicated clearly with the brown. That is also an effort to create more of a some forking paths. We also have an idea of bringing some of the open air sculptures that end up getting thrown out and putting them at points in the mulch. So that's also kind of an aesthetic plan we're working on, but is less detailed in this. But if you have a suggestion, if you'd like to help design something, help build something, or start imagining even more things, we could always use help planning for the unclear and uncertain future.